Hello everyone, and welcome to Speak English Easily 24/7. If you're new here, make sure to subscribe for helpful English tips every day. In today's session, we're focusing on helping advanced English learners become more natural and confident in the way they speak. If you're at AC1 or C2 level, your goal is probably to speak clearly, express your thoughts well, and understand the language deeply, not just the grammar, but the feeling and tone behind the words too. Let's begin by talking about how to explain complex ideas in English. At this stage, it's not enough to use simple words like good or nice. You should try to explain things in more detail and with more meaning. For example, imagine someone asks you about a moment in your life that you'll never forget. Instead of just saying, "It was a good experience," you can say something like, "That experience taught me important lessons and helped me become a better person." This tells your listener not just what happened, but also why it mattered to you. Adding more depth and emotion makes your English sound more interesting and thoughtful. Now, let's move on to how to connect your ideas smoothly. When you speak about difficult or more advanced topics, it's helpful to use certain words to link your thoughts together. Words like however, in addition, for example, and as a result, make your speech sound smoother and easier to follow. Let's try a quick example. Imagine you're describing a trip you took. "I loved the city because it was full of history." For example, "I visited a castle that was more than 500 years old. In addition, the people were really friendly and welcoming." See how that flows? These connecting words help your sentences sound more natural and help your listener understand your point better. Next, let's talk about something very important at this level, your tone. Tone means how you say something, not just what you say. In English, your tone can change depending on the situation you're in. If you're speaking with a friend, you might use relaxed and friendly language. For example, "I had such a great time this weekend. We went hiking and the views were amazing." But in a professional situation, like a business meeting or interview, your tone should be more formal. In that case, you could say something like, "I had a very enjoyable weekend. I went hiking and the scenery was truly impressive." Both sentences say the same thing, but the style and tone are different. Learning to switch your tone based on who you're talking to is a key skill for advanced learners. So, to sum up today's session, try to explain your ideas in detail instead of using basic words. Use connecting words and phrases to make your speech flow better. Learn to adjust your tone depending on whether you're in a casual or professional setting. Practicing these three things can help you sound more fluent, confident, and natural in English. That's it for now. Keep practicing and don't forget to come back tomorrow for more tips on how to speak English easily anytime, anywhere. Let's continue by talking more about tone and how to link your ideas clearly in different situations. As we said earlier, the way you speak can change depending on who you're talking to. If you say, "I had a very enjoyable weekend. I went hiking and appreciated the stunning views," that sounds calm, polite, and formal. But if you're with friends, you might say, "I had such a great time. We went hiking and the views were amazing." Both versions are correct, but the tone is different. Learning how to adjust your tone based on the situation helps you sound more natural and confident. Now let's look more closely at how to use tone, especially in formal situations like a seminar, a meeting, or a networking event. In these settings, you want your speech to sound professional, polite, and clear. For example, imagine someone just gave a presentation. If you say, "Oh, I really liked your presentation. It was nice," that sounds friendly, but a little too casual. A better way to express yourself in a formal setting might be, "I thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. It was not only informative but also very engaging, especially the examples you used." This version sounds more thoughtful, respectful, and professional. Using this kind of tone shows that you know how to communicate clearly and with respect, which is very important in professional environments. On the other hand, in informal situations like chatting with friends or family, your tone should be more relaxed and friendly. If someone asks you about your weekend, you might say something like, "It was so much fun. We went hiking and the weather was perfect, sunny, but not too hot." Here, the excitement in your voice and phrases like, "so much fun," help you connect with people emotionally. It feels more personal and lively. This ability to switch your tone between formal and informal shows that you're truly comfortable using English in any situation. Now, let's move on to building longer, more detailed responses when speaking. One way to improve your speaking at an advanced level is to go beyond short answers. Instead of just saying something simple like, "I liked the book because it was interesting," try adding more information, like examples or reasons. For instance, if someone asks you about your favorite book, you could say, "My favorite book is one that I read a few years ago. It's called To Kill a Mockingbird. I found it fascinating because it explores themes like justice, fairness, and standing up for what's right. The characters felt real to me, and the story stayed with me long after I finished reading it." In this example, you're not just saying the name of the book, you're sharing your thoughts, feelings, and reasons. That makes your answer richer and more engaging. Whenever you speak about a topic, try to include three things: examples, to show what you mean; reasons, to explain why it matters; personal thoughts, to make your response more unique and thoughtful. This way of speaking shows that you're confident, clear, and able to handle complex conversations. Let's continue building on the skills we've discussed so far. One of the best ways to speak fluently and naturally is to add more detail when you express your thoughts. For example, if you talk about a book like To Kill a Mockingbird, instead of just saying, "I liked it," you can say, "It explores powerful themes like justice, morality, and compassion. The characters felt so real to me, and I think the story is still very relevant today." Adding these kinds of details helps your listener understand why something matters to you. It makes your speech more thoughtful and engaging. Another way to improve your fluency is to use advanced vocabulary and idiomatic expressions, but only when they sound natural. You don't need to use big or unusual words all the time. Instead, choose phrases that help you express yourself more clearly. For example, instead of saying, "The project was difficult," you can say, "The project was a real challenge, but it was rewarding to see everything come together in the end." Instead of saying, "I worked hard," try saying, "I gave it my all and put in a lot of effort." These phrases help your speech sound more expressive and show that you have a deeper understanding of the language. But remember, there needs to be a balance. Using too many idioms or advanced words can make your speech sound unnatural or even confusing. Only use them when they fit the situation and help you say what you really mean. Now, let's talk about how to express your opinions, especially on more serious or complex topics. A good way to do this is by using a clear structure. Here's one that works well. Start with your opinion, explain your reason, give an example to support it. For instance, if someone asks, "What do you think about working from home?" you might say, "I believe working from home has both advantages and challenges. On one hand, it saves time because there's no need to commute, and it offers more flexibility. For example, parents can spend more time with their children. On the other hand, it can be difficult to keep work and personal life separate. Overall, I think it depends on the person and their work style." This structure makes your ideas easy to follow and shows that you've thought about the topic carefully. Another useful skill for fluent speaking is summarizing ideas. This means taking a lot of information and explaining it in a short, clear way. Summarizing is helpful in many situations, like after a meeting, a class, or even watching a movie. Instead of just saying, "It was good," you could say, "The movie was about friendship and never giving up. The story was simple but emotional, and the characters really stood out." By summarizing like this, You show that you understood the main ideas and can explain them clearly. This is a great skill to have in both casual and professional conversations. So, let's review what we covered in this part. Add meaningful details to your answers to make them more interesting. Use advanced vocabulary and idioms naturally, not too often. Follow a clear structure when sharing your opinion. Practice summarizing to express big ideas in a few clear sentences. Each of these techniques will help you speak English with more confidence, clarity, and fluency. Let's keep going and look at more ways to improve your English fluency and confidence. One helpful skill is learning how to summarize ideas clearly. Instead of just saying something was good or nice, try to give a bit more information. For example, instead of saying, "The movie was good," you could say, "The movie was about a young artist trying to find her place in the world. The story was heartfelt, and the acting was incredible, especially during the emotional scenes." When you speak like this, you're not just giving your opinion, you're also organizing your thoughts and using more interesting vocabulary. This kind of response shows that you understand what you've seen or experienced and that you can explain it clearly to others. Another key to fluency is practicing listening and speaking together. The more you listen to native speakers or advanced English users, the more you'll learn how English is used in real life, how people pronounce words, how they stress certain parts of a sentence, and how they link their ideas. If you hear a phrase you like, try repeating it out loud. Then, try using it in your own sentence. For example, if someone says, "That was a turning point for me," you can practice with something from your own life, like, "Graduating from university was a turning point for me because it marked the beginning of my career." This is a great way to build your vocabulary and get used to using more natural expressions in your daily conversations. Now, let's take everything we've learned so far and apply it to a real-life situation using a story and a simple role play. Imagine this. You've just moved to a new city for work. You're invited to a networking event where you don't know anyone. It feels a little scary. You're nervous about starting a conversation in English, but you remind yourself, small talk is powerful. It helps break the ice, build confidence, and improve your fluency. So, here's how the moment plays out. You see someone standing by the refreshment table. They seem approachable. Instead of waiting or walking away, you take a deep breath and walk up to them. You say, "Hi, how are you enjoying the event so far?" They respond with a smile, "It's been great. The speaker earlier was really inspiring. What about you?" Now, this is your chance to keep the conversation going. Don't just say, "Yeah, I liked it." Instead, try to say something a bit more thoughtful, like, "I agree. The speaker had some powerful ideas about leadership. I especially liked the part where she talked about learning from failure." See how much more engaging that is? By sharing a detail, you're showing that you are listening, and you're inviting the other person to keep talking. You've gone from a simple greeting to a meaningful conversation, just like that. In moments like this, preparing a few phrases in advance can really help. You can practice friendly openers like, "Is this your first time at one of these events? What brought you here today? I really enjoyed the talk earlier. What did you think?" By practicing these small interactions, you build real fluency, not just in grammar and vocabulary, but in confidence too. Let's continue with our example of how a conversation can grow naturally when you're confident and thoughtful in your responses. Imagine someone says they enjoyed a speaker's ideas about leadership. You could reply, "Yes, I thought they made some excellent points about leadership. I especially liked the part about building trust within a team. It reminded me of a project I worked on last year where collaboration was key. Have you worked on similar projects?" This kind of response does three powerful things. It shares your personal experience. It shows you are paying attention. It invites the other person to share, keeping the conversation flowing. Now, let's build on this with a little role-play example. Imagine the other person replies, "Yes, actually, I worked on a similar project last year." We were launching a new product, and teamwork was essential, but it wasn't easy at first. There were some disagreements on the design. This is your moment to show something very important: active listening. Instead of jumping to another topic or just nodding, you could say, "That sounds challenging. How did your team work through the disagreements?" By asking a thoughtful follow-up question, you show that you're truly engaged. You're not just speaking, you're building a real, meaningful connection. This kind of response takes you from short, simple exchanges to deeper, more fluent conversations. Now let's bring these ideas to life through a short story that shows how practice and courage can build fluency. Imagine a young woman named Sarah who recently moved to London for her university studies. When she first arrived, she felt shy about speaking English, especially in social settings. Even though she understood what people were saying, she was afraid to speak up. She worried about making mistakes or sounding awkward. At first, Sarah stayed quiet during conversations. She would listen carefully but didn't join in. But one day, her professor invited the class to a casual coffee meetup. Sarah saw it as a chance to try. During the meetup, she overheard a group of students talking about their favorite travel destinations. She hesitated for a moment, then gathered her courage and joined in. She said, "I love traveling too. Last year, I visited Rome, and the history there was incredible. Have any of you been to Italy?" To her surprise, the group welcomed her warmly. One person responded, "Yes, I went to Florence 2 years ago. The art and architecture were amazing." Another added, "I've always wanted to visit Venice. Did you like the food in Rome?" Suddenly, Sarah was part of the conversation. She felt her confidence grow as the discussion continued. She realized that she didn't have to speak perfectly, she just had to speak genuinely and clearly. This story shows something important. Fluency doesn't happen overnight. It grows when you take small steps, put yourself in real situations, and speak, even when you feel nervous. So, what can we learn from this? Share your personal stories and ask others about theirs. Listen actively and respond with interest. Be brave. Start small. The more you speak, the more confident you'll become. Every conversation is a chance to improve, not just your vocabulary or grammar, but your ability to connect with others in English. Let's return to Sarah's story to see how small steps can lead to big progress in fluency. After Sarah joined the conversation about travel, something unexpected happened. The group welcomed her and started sharing their own stories. One person said, "I've always wanted to visit Rome. What was your favorite part?" Sarah smiled and replied, "The Colosseum was amazing, but what I enjoyed most was exploring the local cafes. The food and the atmosphere were unforgettable." That short moment had a big impact on her. Sarah realized that people weren't focused on her grammar or accent, they were just happy to connect. This gave her a confidence boost. She began joining more conversations and speaking up in social situations. Over time, her fluency improved a lot. So, what can we learn from Sarah's experience? It's normal to feel nervous. Most people do when speaking a new language, especially in front of others. Small steps matter. Starting a conversation or sharing a short story can lead to real growth in your speaking skills. People are usually kind and supportive. Most people will appreciate that you're making the effort to communicate. Let's take this lesson and use it in a new situation. Imagine you're at a family dinner and everyone is speaking English. Someone turns to you and asks, "What's the most exciting thing you've done recently?" You might be tempted to give a short answer like, "I went to a concert." But instead, try expanding your response a bit. "Last weekend, I went to a music festival. It was amazing." The crowd had such great energy, the live performances were exciting, and the food trucks had the best snacks. It was a memorable experience. Have you ever been to a music festival? In this reply, you've done 3 things. Shared a personal story with details. Used expressive language to show how you felt. Asked a question to keep the conversation going. That kind of back and forth is what natural communication is all about. You're not just answering questions, you're starting a real conversation. Now let's take another example, this time in a professional setting. Imagine your boss asks you, "How's the project coming along?" Instead of giving a short reply like, "It's going well," you could say, "The project is progressing smoothly. We completed the initial research phase, and now we're focusing on writing the first draft of the report. I've also scheduled a team meeting to discuss our findings. Would you like me to include any specific points in the next update?" This kind of response does a lot. It shows progress and organization, gives clear information about what you've done, involves your listener by asking a follow-up question. Whether you're speaking at a dinner table or in a meeting room, these skills help you come across as confident, clear, and fluent. So here's what we've practiced in this section. Use real-life situations to build confidence. Add details and emotions to your stories. Ask follow-up questions to keep the conversation alive. Adjust your tone and content for formal or informal settings. Every conversation is a chance to get better at English by listening actively, sharing naturally, and staying engaged. When you respond to your boss or a colleague with clear, detailed information, you show that you are organized and responsible. For example, when your boss asks, "Would you like me to include any specific points in the presentation?" and you answer with details about the project's progress and next steps, it shows initiative and professionalism. This kind of response is very important in work settings because it builds trust and makes communication clear. To get better at these skills, try making your own role-play scenarios. Think about situations you might face every day, like ordering food at a restaurant, asking for directions in a new city, talking about your weekend plans with a friend. Write a few sentences for each situation and practice saying them out loud. If possible, record yourself and listen carefully. This helps you notice how you pronounce words and where you can speak more clearly. It also helps you get used to the rhythm and flow of English. Now, let's talk about storytelling. Stories make your English much more interesting and fun to listen to. People love stories because they are easy to remember and relate to. Even simple stories can make your conversations more engaging. For example, instead of just saying, "I went shopping," you could tell a short story like this. "Last Saturday, I went shopping for a new jacket. I found one I really liked, but when I got to the checkout, I realized I had left my wallet at home. It was so embarrassing. But the cashier was very kind and held the jacket for me until I came back." Adding small details like this makes your speech more natural and enjoyable. It also shows that you can speak in full sentences and organize your ideas clearly. By practicing storytelling, role-playing, and speaking in real situations, you will slowly but surely build your confidence and fluency. Don't be afraid to try new words and expressions. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. Remember, every conversation is a chance to learn something new and improve your skills. The key to becoming fluent is not about being perfect. It's about being persistent and willing to connect with others through language. Now, let's go a bit deeper into building confidence when speaking English. Imagine you're at a cafe with a friend, and you both just watched a new movie. Instead of saying something short like, "I liked the movie," try to explain your thoughts with more detail. For example, you could say, "I really enjoyed the movie. It was about a young woman who travels to different countries to find her place in the world. The story was inspiring and the acting was very good." This way, you share your opinion clearly and give reasons to support it. This also invites your friend to share their own thoughts. You could then ask, "What did you think of the movie?" or "Have you seen any other good films lately?" These questions keep the conversation going naturally. This kind of speaking practice helps you sound more fluent and confident because you are giving detailed answers, sharing your feelings and opinions, asking questions to continue the talk. So, Here's a quick summary of what we covered in this section. Practice role-playing different daily situations. Use storytelling to make your English more interesting. Record yourself to improve pronunciation and clarity. Be persistent and keep practicing, even if you make mistakes. Add details and ask questions when sharing your opinions. By using these simple but effective strategies, you'll become more comfortable speaking English in all kinds of situations, from casual chats to professional meetings. When talking about something like a movie, you can make your answers more interesting by adding details and sharing your thoughts. Instead of just saying, "I liked the movie," try to say something like this: "I really enjoyed the movie, especially how the director used light and shadow to build suspense. The story was so surprising, I didn't expect the main character to turn out as the villain." By giving more details and explaining your opinion, you make the conversation richer and more fun for everyone. Let's imagine a role play at a party where a group of friends is discussing their favorite movies. Someone says, "I think superhero movies are overrated." This is your chance to join the conversation with a thoughtful reply. "I see why you feel that way, but I actually like superhero movies because they're creative. They often show characters facing big challenges, and I enjoy watching how they change and grow. For example, in the latest movie I saw, the hero wasn't just saving the world, he was also learning to deal with personal loss." That made the story deeper and more emotional. With this kind of answer, you don't just agree or disagree, you add something meaningful. This makes you sound more fluent and thoughtful, and helps the conversation move forward naturally. Another great way to improve your English is through storytelling. Imagine you're telling your friend about a trip you took to the countryside. You could say, "Last weekend, I went to the countryside with some friends. We rented a small house in the hills, and the view from the window was breathtaking. The best part was when we hiked to the top of a mountain. The air was so fresh, and we could see for miles. We even spotted some deer in the distance. It was the perfect escape from the noise of the city." Notice how this description doesn't just give facts. It adds details that help your listener imagine the scene and feel like they're there with you. This makes your story more vivid and interesting. Using details like these will help you speak more naturally and confidently. When you describe places, people, or events with clear and colorful language, your English becomes more engaging. In summary, here are some simple tips to help you speak fluently when talking about movies, trips, or other experiences. Add details to your answers instead of giving short replies. Share your opinions and explain why you feel that way. Use examples to support your ideas. Tell stories with descriptive words to help listeners imagine the scene. Join conversations by adding your own thoughts, not just agreeing or disagreeing. Practicing these steps will improve your fluency and make your English more natural and enjoyable to listen to. You'll also feel more confident joining group discussions or telling stories to friends. Using details like this is a great way to practice speaking English naturally and with confidence. Now, let's change the topic a little and think about how you can use storytelling at work. Imagine you are in a meeting and your manager asks you to give an update on a project. Instead of just saying, "It's going well," try saying something like, "The project is going well. We've just finished collecting all the data, and now we're starting to analyze it. I think the results will be interesting because we've found some unexpected patterns. For example, one of our findings challenges what we thought at the beginning. I'm excited to talk about this with the team tomorrow." This kind of answer shows that you are confident and knowledgeable. It also makes you sound involved and interested in the project. One of the biggest problems many English learners face is fear of making mistakes. Imagine you're in a meeting and want to say something, but you worry your English isn't perfect. What should you do? Instead of being afraid to speak, use what we've talked about. Try to share your ideas, even if they're not perfect. For example, if your boss asks for suggestions, you could say, "I think we could improve our marketing by focusing more on social media." I'm not sure about all the details yet, but I believe it could help us reach younger customers. Even if you don't feel 100% sure, you're still giving important ideas. This is how you build fluency, by speaking as much as possible and learning from every experience. To make this more practical, let's do a role play. Imagine you're at the airport and you need help finding your way to the departure gate. Instead of just saying, "Excuse me," and stopping, try a longer sentence like this. "Excuse me, could you please tell me how to get to gate 12? I'm a bit confused because the signs don't seem clear." By adding more information and being polite, you make it easier for the other person to understand and help you. Also, you sound confident and natural. Here are some quick tips to remember. Use details to make your speech clear and interesting. Don't worry about making mistakes, everyone makes them. Speak as much as you can, even if you're not perfect. Practice polite and clear questions, especially in new situations like travel. By following these simple ideas, you'll feel more comfortable speaking English in both casual and professional settings. Imagine you are at the airport and you want to ask someone where your gate is. Instead of just saying, "Excuse me, where is the gate?" try to use a longer, clearer sentence to practice speaking more naturally. You could say, "Excuse me, I'm a little lost. Could you help me find my way to gate 12? I'm flying to New York and I don't want to miss my flight." By adding more information, your question sounds friendly and real. You're not just asking for help, you're also showing that you understand the situation. This makes the conversation feel more personal and less like a simple, robotic question. Now, imagine you're on the phone with customer service because there is a problem with an order you made online. Instead of just saying, "I didn't get my order," try explaining the situation clearly. For example, say, "Hi, I placed an order online last week, but I just checked and my package hasn't arrived yet. I was expecting it today, but I haven't received any updates. Could you help me find out where it is?" Giving more details like this makes your request clearer and sounds polite. This usually helps get a better response from the person helping you. Let's think about a more relaxed situation. Imagine you are at a family gathering and someone asks, "How was your day?" Instead of just saying, "Good" or "Fine," try to say more. For example, "It was actually a really nice day. I spent most of the afternoon at the park enjoying the sunshine. I even had time to read a book outside. It felt great to relax and take a break." This longer answer gives more information about your day and makes your English sound more interesting and full of personality. It helps the listener picture what you did, which makes the conversation better. Another great way to practice speaking naturally is by joining group activities. Imagine you're at a book club where people are talking about a book they just read. Instead of simply agreeing with others, you can share a detailed opinion. For example, you might say, "I really enjoyed the book, but I felt the ending was a bit rushed. I think it would have been better if the author spent more time on the last chapter." This kind of answer shows that you can think deeply and express your ideas clearly. It also helps you join in the conversation in a meaningful way. By practicing in situations like these, asking for help, explaining problems, sharing your day, and talking in groups, you will become more confident and fluent. Remember, it's always better to say more and give details. This makes your English sound natural and helps you connect with others. If the author had spent more time on the final chapters, especially explaining the characters' motivations, it would have made the ending better. What do you think? By talking like this, you show that you have really thought about the book and can share your ideas clearly in English. All these examples show how role-playing and storytelling can make your English conversations sound natural and fluent. Remember, becoming fluent is not about having perfect grammar or pronunciation. It's about feeling confident enough to join conversations, share your ideas, and keep the talk going. The more you practice these kinds of situations, the easier it will be for you in real life. Don't worry about making mistakes. They're a normal part of learning and help you improve. With time and practice, your fluency will get better and better. Let's keep going with more examples to help you build confidence and fluency in English. Remember, fluency is not just about speaking. It's about feeling comfortable in different situations where you use English. Imagine you are in a work meeting and your manager asks how a project is going. Instead of just saying, "It's going well," try giving a longer and clearer answer to sound confident. You could say, "The project is progressing well. We've finished the research phase and are now moving into the planning stage. The team has already outlined some key strategies, and we expect to present our initial findings next week. There are a few areas where we need more data, but I think we'll be ready to make strong recommendations soon." This detailed answer shows you are in control and thinking carefully about the project. It also makes you sound more fluent because you can explain the project clearly and professionally. Let's think about another situation, this time at a social gathering. You're at a friend's house and people are talking about their weekend plans. Instead of just saying, "I don't have any plans," you could say something more detailed. "I'm actually planning to spend the weekend exploring a new part of the city. There's a beautiful park I've wanted to visit, and I heard there's a great art exhibit there. I'm also hoping to catch up with some friends over dinner." It's always nice to slow down and enjoy the weekend after a busy week. Now you're sharing not just what you'll do, but also how you feel about it. This makes the conversation more natural and personal. Here's a great example of storytelling in a professional setting. Imagine you're in a job interview, and the interviewer asks about a time you solved a difficult problem at work. Instead of just saying, "I solved a problem with a project," you could tell a detailed story. "In my previous job, we faced a big challenge when a client changed the project requirements just a week before the deadline. At first, the team was stressed because we didn't have enough time to do all the changes. But I suggested breaking the new requirements into smaller tasks and prioritizing them. I also recommended working in smaller groups to be more efficient. In the end, we met the deadline and the client was very happy with the result. It was stressful, but I learned a lot about time management and teamwork." By telling a story like this, you show your problem-solving skills and your ability to explain complex ideas clearly in English. Instead of just saying, "I went to the beach," try adding more details to make your story more interesting. You might say, "Last summer, I took a trip to the coast with some friends. The weather was perfect, sunny and warm, but not too hot. We spent the day at a beautiful beach with golden sand and clear blue water. We even tried surfing for the first time. I wasn't very good at it, but it was so much fun. Afterward, we walked along the pier and enjoyed some fresh seafood. It was such a relaxing day, and I can't wait to go back next summer." This kind of response not only tells your friend about your trip, but also paints a vivid picture, letting them experience it with you. Practicing this detailed and descriptive way of speaking will help you improve your fluency and sound more natural in everyday conversations. You can also practice using descriptive language to explain things around you. For example, imagine you're at a restaurant and the waiter asks how you like your food. Instead of just saying, "It's good," you could say, "The dish is amazing. The flavors are well balanced, the chicken is tender, and the spices are just right. I especially love the sauce. It has a rich, creamy texture with a hint of garlic that gives it a unique taste. I'm really enjoying it." By adding details like this, you're not only giving feedback, but also showing your ability to express your thoughts in a more sophisticated and engaging way. Here's another example of using fluent English in a social setting. Imagine you're at a party and someone asks what kind of music you like. Instead of simply saying, "I like pop music," you could say, "I'm really into pop music, especially the kind with upbeat rhythms and catchy lyrics. But I also enjoy other genres like indie rock and electronic music. It really depends on my mood. Sometimes I prefer something more relaxed, like acoustic songs, but other times I'm in the mood for something more energetic." Sometimes I'm in the mood for something energetic and fast-paced. Let's practice how to respond to a question at a social gathering. Someone might ask, "What did you do this weekend?" Instead of just saying, "I stayed home," you could say, "I had a quiet weekend. On Saturday, I spent some time catching up on my favorite TV show. I'm watching a series about a detective who solves mysteries in a small town. It's really suspenseful, and I can't wait to see what happens next. On Sunday, I went for a walk in the park and met up with a friend for coffee. We talked about everything, our jobs, family, and even plans for the summer. It was a nice way to unwind before the busy week ahead." This response not only answers the question, but also invites further conversation by giving the other person more to ask about. These are excellent examples of how you can build fluency and confidence in English. Whether you're at work, socializing with friends, or telling a story, the key is to practice using more detailed responses. The more you practice, the more naturally English will come to you, and you'll be able to engage in conversations with ease and confidence. Let's keep practicing and exploring how you can express yourself in different situations using English. The more you practice, the more comfortable and fluent you'll become. Now, imagine you're meeting someone new and want to make a great first impression. A simple question like, "Where are you from?" can lead to a more interesting conversation if you answer in detail. Instead of just saying, "I'm from London," you could say, "I'm from London, which is the capital of the United Kingdom. It's a huge city with a rich history and so many things to do. There are famous landmarks like Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, and the London Eye. The city is known for its mix of modern and historic buildings. I love how diverse London is. People from all over the world live there, making it a really vibrant place. People live there, so you get to experience so many different cultures and foods. I'm really proud to be from such a vibrant city." By adding details like this, you give the other person a better understanding of where you're from, and it opens up the conversation for them to ask more about your hometown, your experiences, or even travel tips. Imagine now that you're talking to someone about your hobbies. If they ask, "What do you like to do in your free time?" you could say, "In my free time, I really enjoy playing the guitar. I've been playing for a few years, and it's something I love doing to relax. I play a variety of music, but lately I've been focusing on learning some classic rock songs. I find it so satisfying when I finally master a difficult song. I also like hiking on weekends. I often go hiking with my friends to explore new trails in the mountains near where I live. It's a great way to enjoy nature and get some exercise at the same time." This answer tells the other person not only what your hobbies are, but also why you enjoy them and what you get out of them. This kind of response makes the conversation more engaging and shows your enthusiasm for your interests. Now, let's practice a situation where you need to explain your job or studies. If someone asks you, "What do you do for a living?" you could say, "I work as a graphic designer. I create visual designs for websites, advertising campaigns, and digital products. It's a really creative job, and I enjoy finding solutions to design problems. Every project is different, so I'm always learning new things. For example, right now, I'm working on designing a website for a small business. It's challenging because the client has a specific vision, but it's also exciting to bring their ideas to life. I love being able to make something that not only looks good, but also helps people connect with the brand." This detailed response not only explains your work clearly, but also shows your passion and involvement in what you do. Feelings, you're not just giving a simple yes or no answer. You're sharing your thoughts in a way that invites more discussion and shows your ability to express opinions clearly. Imagine now that you're at a social event and someone asks you about your favorite movie. Instead of saying, "I like Harry Potter," you could say, "One of my favorite books is Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. I first read it when I was younger and have read it several times since. It's about a boy named Harry who discovers he's a wizard and goes on many adventures at a magical school. What I love about the book is the way J.K. Rowling creates such an imaginative world. There are so many interesting characters, and the story is full of twists and surprises. It's a great mix of magic, mystery, and friendship, and it never gets old no matter how many times I read it. By explaining why this book is your favorite, you add depth to your answer, which can lead to a more engaging conversation. Your friend might ask about your favorite characters or other books you recommend. Now, let's move on to a situation where you're giving feedback about something. Say you've just watched a movie and someone asks, "Did you enjoy the movie?" Instead of just saying, "Yes, it was good," you could say, "I really enjoyed the movie. It was a great mix of action and drama. The plot kept me on the edge of my seat, and the actors gave amazing performances." One thing I really liked was how the director used flashbacks to show different perspectives of the story. It made the plot more interesting and added emotional depth. The only downside was that the ending felt a bit rushed, but overall, it was a fantastic film. This answer gives specific feedback and helps the person you're speaking with understand your opinion better. By explaining the reasons behind your feelings, you show that you can communicate complex ideas clearly and thoughtfully. When you explain your thoughts clearly and carefully, it shows that you can think deeply and speak well. Let's practice another example you might face at work. Imagine you are in a meeting with your manager. They ask you how a task is going. Instead of just saying, "I'm almost done," you can give a longer, clearer answer. For example, you could say, "The task is almost finished. I have completed most of the research, and I have started putting all the information together into the final presentation. Right now, I'm waiting for the newest data from the marketing team. Once I get that, I will finish the report and send it to you by the end of the day. I am confident that everything will be ready on time. I have also checked all the details twice to make sure there are no mistakes." This kind of answer shows your manager that you are organized and responsible. It also gives them a good idea of what stage the work is at. Plus, it shows that you can talk well in a professional environment. This is an important skill for any job. Now, let's think about a different situation, planning a trip with friends. Someone asks you, "What are your plans for the holiday?" Instead of just saying, "I don't know," or "nothing special," you can say more like this. "For the holiday, I am planning to go on a short trip with some friends to the beach. We are going to a place we have visited before, so we already know it is very beautiful. We plan to spend a few days relaxing by the ocean, trying new seafood restaurants, and maybe doing some water sports like kayaking or paddleboarding." You can also add, "It will be a great chance for us to rest and feel refreshed. We are also thinking about taking a day trip to a nearby town to visit local markets and some old, historical sites." This kind of answer not only tells your friends about your plans, but also shares details about the places you will visit and the things you will do. This makes the conversation more interesting and can lead your friends to ask questions or give suggestions. Talking this way helps your conversations feel more natural and fun. You give enough information to keep the talk going. It also shows that you are thinking about your plans carefully. When you practice giving detailed answers, your English will improve. You will feel more confident to speak in different situations. Whether you are at work or with friends, it helps to share more about your ideas and experiences. In summary, don't just give short answers like, "It's good," or "I'm fine." Try to explain more about what you mean. Give reasons for your opinions or describe your feelings. This makes your speech more fluent and makes the other person interested in what you say. Remember, the goal of learning English is not only to be correct, but also to feel comfortable and confident. When you speak in full sentences and give details, your conversations become richer and easier. Keep practicing. The more you do this, the better you will get. Soon, you will find it easy to join in conversations and share your thoughts clearly. When you talk about your future plans, it helps to give details that show what you want to do and why. For example, If someone asks you about your goals for the future, instead of just saying, I want to work hard, you can say something like this. In the next few years, I want to focus more on my career growth. I hope to take on more leadership roles at my job, like managing a team or leading projects. I'm also thinking about going back to school to study marketing at a higher level. It's important for me to keep learning new things so I can do better work. Besides my career, I want to travel more and see new places. I'm really interested in visiting Japan because it has an amazing mix of modern technology and old traditions. I think learning about other cultures will help me understand the world better. I'm excited about what the future holds and the opportunities one will have. This kind of answer does more than just tell your goals. It also shares your personal interests and shows that you think about the future. When you speak this way, people see that you are motivated and thoughtful. It can also encourage them to share their own dreams and plans. Now, let's imagine you are helping a friend who wants to improve their English. If they ask you, how can I get better at English? Instead of a short answer like, practice a lot, try to give more helpful and specific advice. One of the best ways to improve your English is to speak it as much as possible. You can find a language exchange partner, someone who wants to learn your language while helping you with English. Joining conversation groups is also great because you get to talk with many different people. Watching movies or TV shows in English, especially with subtitles, can help you understand how people really speak. You learn new words and how sentences flow naturally. Another good idea is to keep a journal and write about your day or your thoughts in English. Don't worry about making mistakes because that's how you learn. The most important thing is to keep practicing, and over time, you will get better. This kind of advice is clear and practical. It gives your friend several ways to improve, and it shows that you care about helping them. Giving advice like this also shows that you can explain ideas well in English. Using examples like these in different situations can help you feel more confident when you speak English. When you practice giving detailed answers, your conversations will sound more natural and interesting. Remember, the key to getting better at English is practice. The more you practice speaking in detail, the easier it will become to express your ideas clearly. Don't be afraid to share your thoughts or tell stories. The more you do this, the more confident you will feel and the more fluent you will become. Fluency is not just about knowing many words or perfect grammar. It's about being comfortable and able to talk about what matters to you. When you speak naturally and with detail, people will enjoy talking with you and want to keep the conversation going. So keep practicing. Talk about your goals, your plans, your experiences, and your advice. The more you share, the better you will get. Soon, you will see how much your English improves and how easy it is to connect with others. To feel confident in any conversation, try to give longer and more detailed answers. Keep pushing yourself to explain your ideas more fully, and you will see a big improvement in how well you communicate in English. That's all for today's episode of Native Explorer. I hope you enjoyed practicing your English with me and that you feel more confident about speaking in different situations. Remember, getting better at speaking English takes time. But if you practice regularly, you will keep improving. Whether you're talking about your hobbies, sharing feedback, or discussing your goals, try to give clear and thoughtful answers. This makes your conversations more interesting and natural. If you liked this episode, please like and subscribe to the channel. You can also share this episode with friends or anyone else who is learning English. The more we practice, the better we become. Thank you for listening, and I'm excited to help you improve your English even more in the next episode. Stay motivated and keep practicing every day. Your fluency will grow as you continue.